All right, guys, we got a 2019 Chevrolet Tahoe, and if you got a Tahoe, Suburban, doesn't matter. Job is gonna be pretty much the same, and we're gonna replace these front brake pads. I got the brake pads coming, so very simple job. So what we're gonna do is these hardwares look really good to me, and I usually don't take them off unless they're like completely rusted out, and a lot of people will criticize for that. But sometimes you got to make a decision, okay? Because I had a bad experience with the crappy ones that comes with brake pads. Anyways, I will clean these up, put a little bit of lube on it, compress the piston. All the fluid's gonna go back, travel into the reservoir. I showed you guys the reservoir. It's gonna be full at the end of the video. It's probably gonna overflow, but we got greasing here, good old regular brake grease. We got silicone lubrication grease here, and got the brake pads coming. So let's get some tools, and we're gonna need a 19mm socket, pry bar, and a compressed tool. Here it is. Got my 19mm. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna simply just smack this bolt here. You got ourselves a pry bar as well, and a compressed tool. So you could use a handheld compressed tool, or you could use a C-clamp. So once that bolt is out, you should be able to just pull this caliper out of there. Okay, very simple. You only need to take a one bolt. You have more than enough clearance on this, and this baby will just go up and sit up. Make sure this doesn't fall back on your hand. It will hurt you. So this can sit there. Let's remove the brake pad, and there's one of our brake pads. So pay attention to the brake pad. You see how this is perfectly rounded off here, and the inside brake pad is going to be a little bit different. You see this? It has this little, it's like a square looking, so that pad goes inside. If you put that on the outside, it's not going to probably fit. So pay attention to your new brake pads. So what we're going to do is we're going to compress this baby, and we are gonna clean these up a bit with the wire brush. So get yourself a wire brush such as this, clean this up just like so. It doesn't have to be crazy clean. Use a mask. So, and you gotta do this on the inside as well. And so pretty much on the inside here and here, same spots, and that baby is done. Oh, one more thing, we're gonna get ourselves a brake cleaner. Get yourself a parts cleaner. Just spray this a bit here, spray here, and spray right there. So you're gonna make the contacts really clean so the brake pads can sit in there really good. So let me set up my camera, and we're gonna compress this piston. Okay, to compress this piston, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use one of the old brake pads, put it right here, make sure it doesn't touch at the end, because it's gonna grind and make you suffer a little bit trying to compress that guy. So it is a dual piston caliper. So a lot of people will say, oh, how did you do that with the one tool? Because usually you will put two C-clamps or get a special tool, but you don't need to do any of that stuff. Check this out. I'm gonna put my hand right here. I know the camera is a bit of blocking the view, and the hand, I'm sorry. So you know what I'm gonna do for you guys? I'm gonna pull this out of there. I just took out the slider pin so you could see better this way. So let me move up my camera, and now we can see it. You just can't let the line pinch because the fluid cannot travel back. So I'm gonna put my hand here. I'm gonna try to squeeze as much as I can on this side, and once it goes a little bit, I'm gonna switch sides, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Now the piston is gonna try to come out this way, so I'm gonna just put my hand right here. So it's a good thing we just took this off, because I do need to put some lube on this little guy. So that's how you're gonna, once the one goes in, the other one has no choice but to go in, just like that. It's not gonna cause any trouble. A lot of people are gonna send me messages, they're crazy messages, la la la. I don't care about none of that. And there you go. So the boot is probably gonna bubble up. Okay, you see this boot bubbled up here? It's air, no problem. It should go right back in, and just try to play around with it till it goes back in nicely and perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get me a rag. So we got ourselves a rag. We're gonna clean this baby up. And what I'm gonna do is down here, I'm just pulling at the slider pin. Let me see if I can get the camera view to reach down there. So pretty much what I want to do here is I'm going to pull out this slider pin. This boot comes off. So the slider pin is out. Let's put our camera back up. So what I want to do is clean this as well. So what I like to do here is, I like to use, the process is the same. So I like to use the silicone grease. Process is the same on the opposite side. And these are the front brake pads. So a little bit of lube here. And a little bit of lube on this little guy. Bada bing, bada boom. And I am gonna stick this guy back in. Let me grab my light. So this guy goes back in. Just like that. Make sure the rubber boot grabs it. It just grips it really quick. It's perfectly fine. So now, what we're gonna do is, okay, my light is moving too much. We're gonna take this and put this slider pin in. Make sure the boot grabs it. Make sure the line doesn't have a twist and curl. Once it goes down, the line should be smooth. Okay, I seen like a pinch, like a curve to the line, like a twisted angle. That's no good. Okay, that's gonna make your brake pads pedal soft and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're gonna come back down. So waiting on the brake pads. So what we're gonna do next is, I'm taking the dark colored grease, high temp grease. So what I like to do is I like to put a little bit here, a little bit here. You can even put on the brake pad. Just don't let it get on the rotor, just a tiny bit amount. And that's perfect right there. Now we just wait for the pads. Okay, so got my brake pads. Here's the part number on these. And we're using Evolutions. Inside this, we're gonna have a hardware kit, which like I told you, we're not gonna use it because these are pretty good. But if you wanna use it, go right ahead, shoot yourself. So just lift these, make sure it doesn't touch the rotor itself. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna pull out these brake pads. 2 for this side, 2 for that side. So, okay, so if you take a look at this little guy, let me just grab the old one. You see the one I showed you? The one that goes on the inside? If you look at this brake pad, sits like that. You got this little metal clip right here. It's called a brake wear indicator. It's pretty much sitting in the bottom if you put it. So what you want to do is you want to match up your brake pad. You see this one? If I put this one on, it's going to have that brake wear indicator in the bottom. But if I take the other brake pad and try to put that one on, it's going to be on the top. So you want it back on the same spot where it came off. So what you want to do is, you want to put this brake pad on really simply and easily. It goes in. You see how easy that brake pad goes in? And we're going to put this. The other two look the same, so it doesn't matter which one you grab. So if your brake pad, so pretty much you stick them in there just like that. They should sit just like that. I've seen people put these brake pad, the backing plate the other way around. That's no good, okay? That's something the dummies would do. Anyways, pretty much they put this brake pad. Okay, let me just grab this brake pad. They will put this brake pad according to that direction. Okay, that's something crazy. You don't want to do that. Anyways, if for any reason your brake pad doesn't go in with one fingertip, you see how easily they go in? I'm able to put them in just like that. If that's not the case, you want to file here a little bit, grind it a bit here, and try it back in. Sometimes you have to grind the edges on this side too, but it should be nice and smooth for it to go in. Okay, if you do this just the way I explained it, it should be good to go. Okay, anyways, next I want to put a little bit of greasing here. A little bit of greasing on the inner brake pad on the same spot that I put here. What that's gonna do is contact, metal to metal. It's gonna eliminate a lot of friction, and we're gonna put this caliper back down. So you might have to move this a bit around, and this caliper comes down and goes in very simple. You're gonna take your 19 millimeter, put that on. And if you're loosening up the top bolt, make sure you tighten that as well. So all you want to do is, you want to lock up this bolt. If you got a torque wrench, take care of it with the torque wrench. And you want to lock up this bolt and make it really nice and tight. And you're good to go. Yeah. Alright, so make sure you pay attention to the brake line. It's nice and smooth. It has no like twist and curl to it once it's on, just the way we took it apart. Make sure you do all the brake pads that is necessary. After that, go for a drive. Make sure you pump the brake pedal. Before you start the car, pump the brake pedal. So